Hey everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Welcome back. We are Poe on the Call, and I am Cris Rivers.
And I'm Mandy Mac.
Yes, and we are here with the incredible pole dancer and pole entrepreneur, Dani.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me back.
Yes, thank you so
Yes.
much for being back here. If y'all don't remember, check out our episode where Dani co-hosted Poe events to look out for in 2024.
Yes.
So much to do.
Oh my
Yes.
Yeah. So much more coming out. I can't keep up. Now there's Traincation San Diego, pole cams, Adam Lynn's having one. So many things going on.
Right.
Who needs a job?
Yeah.
Right. But now we're so excited to learn more about you.
An interview.
Thank you. Glad,
Well,
excited to share my story.
Yes.
yes. And we'll start with the regular basic first question. What started you on your pole journey?
So, Groupon.
I love
I
it.
took an intro to pole class on Groupon. I'm always looking to try new things. I will try anything at least once, twice if I like it. And I have always been a very active person, but I don't like going to the regular gym and just lifting weights and working out. I find it like nails on a chalkboard. I am so bored and I like intensely people watch and I will just like stare a hole into your soul because the only thing going through my mind is I am so bored. I am so bored. I do not want to be here. This is not fun. But I love dance. And I was living in Chicago at the time. And one weekend, a friend of mine asked if I would try roller derby with her. And I was like, okay. And I had never done it before. And so we did that. And then the next weekend, it was her turn to try something new with me. And we went to an intro to pole class. And suffices to say, I was hooked, literally and figuratively. I immediately signed up for series. I signed up for choreography classes. I was like, anything, everything, give me it all. I want to do it.
What about the roller derby? You never went back to that?
No, so they actually, it was tryouts for an actual team, and my friend made the team because she had been doing she did a roller camp with them for like the previous 6 weeks. And so they told me they're like, do our next skate camp and then the next tryouts. And I was like, okay. And then but the next weekend I tried this and I was hooked. And I've actually had people here ask me to join roller derby. And I'm like, as much as I would like that, I already hurt myself enough when I do this. And then I'm upset when I can't train because I'm injured. I don't want to injure myself more doing roller derby. So it's like I choose dance.
Funny.
Yeah.
And it all started from a Groupon after before the roller derby.
Yep, Groupon. Groupon is amazing. And it's a great, I think, place to find new studios. Like if you've never even been to one, because you just type in the type of dance class you're looking for on there, and it's pulled up a few studios before, so it's a really nice tool.
I love Groupon as well, but we've been told from a lot of post studios that it is not a money maker. You end up sometimes losing money with Groupon deals, so it's interesting.
Okay. That makes sense though, because really you're just kind of getting those beginners or one-timers maybe, because
Yeah.
then those who are dedicated, obviously, then they're going to sign up through the studio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because a lot of times it'll be like bucket list people and they'll just go once. Yeah. But I also started with a Groupon when I came back to pole, so there
Yeah,
is some use. Yeah.
odd. There's pros and cons. It's interesting. It's so beneficial for us students.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say is your favorite pole dance style?
Um, my favorite pull style is going to be exotic or low flow. Um, when I first started training, um, I had only actually been in a studio for maybe about 3 or 4 months. And then I moved to Texas, to the middle of nowhere, Waco, Texas. Um, and there was no studio within 2.5 hours. And oh yeah. And I did that drive twice. That's how desperate I was for dance. But it was a lot. And so when I first started training at home, because there was no studios nearby, my boyfriend Ryan, he got me a pole for my Christmas birthday present combo. And I started training with Lauren from Kiska Pole online. She used to have a studio in Seattle. And then because of COVID, she went online. And honestly, COVID was like the best thing to happen for my pole training because it forced all of the amazing instructors who only taught in person that you don't have access to because you don't live there. It forced them to think outside the box. It forced them to go online, start thinking of, recording their lessons. And I started taking Russian exotic from her, and I love it. I've actually cried real tears in her warm-ups before, because she puts you through the ringer and she makes you do warm-up in your heels. So like, you do your little stretch, and then you put your heels on, and then you finish warm-up. And I've literally cried before because I'm like, oh, I'm ready to move up levels. I was humbled. I start crying. Ryan comes in from the other room and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, just like, getting through these push-ups or crunches. It was something I was doing, but yeah, Russian is no joke.
Wait, push-ups and crunches in heels.
Yes, you would you put your regular heels on and you do your warm-up, because then Lauren would definitely also make you do lots of shoulder activation, pull-ups and whatnots, and you'd be on your tippy toes in your heels. And because she believed, training in your heels. She is trained with Olga Koda, and she's gone to Russia to train from the original greats and things like that. So she is a stickler for her technique and really making you, and I definitely am grateful for it because my ankles are stronger for it, and I can do some of the things that I can do because of how she just makes you learn from the beginning. You don't have to unlearn bad habits, which unfortunately there are some of those that I do. We all do. But that's my favorite. Also, I think it's my favorite style to watch because I don't know what it is about it. There's just some feeling it gives you to watch, and you're just amazed the entire time because there's such power and strength behind the moves, but they look so effortless on the pros. You're just I want to be like that. And but I've always had carpet as well where I live. No matter where we go, I seem to always find carpet. So it's hard to dance in heels. So I have a little mat under my pole, but I am I gravitate more towards floor work because of that. So I am butter on the floor, which I'm trying to make that this year is my goal, to also transfer that to my pole side. So
Yes, love the floor work, but do not love floor work on a rug.
I know rug birds, but I
Yep.
love conditioning in heels. I love conditioning in heels. I think it's so amazing. It really does help with everything.
It does. It sucks because obviously conditioning, those are the boring things that none of us want to do. But I've been talking about it more and more with those that I train with or teach. It's, if we want to see any progress, because I look at my own journey, and if I count the time that I've when I started, my pole journey is coming up on 5 years now. that I've like from when I started. But if I take out all the time in between where I've stopped, it's probably solidly 2.5 years of training, maybe. And I want to be more serious about it. And like you see when you go to different studios and you take things from different instructors, you see, you know, things that you're like, oh, that's a good thing I should do, or oh, I don't like that, or I want to implement this or that in your own training. And I definitely have started doing more conditioning because I know obviously we're all told and we tell everybody, oh, don't compare your journey to anybody else, you know, your journey is your own. But I want to see more progress in my own journey. And in order for that to happen, more conditioning is needed and in the heels because those are ankle weights with knives on them. And it's important. So
Okay, thank you for bringing up the conditioning because you're absolutely right. Chris makes us do conditioning in his class all the time, and I hate it. But since we've been doing conditioning, my practice has skyrocketed. So, well,
Just wait at heels. Let me
yeah.
stop. I was reading your bio. Do you still work with liquid motion? I have to experience that. I've never got to.
I do. I am licensed and certified instructor for liquid motion. I just most recently, I have all of their, excuse me, all of their certifications. So liquid motion 1, 2, heels, and liquid motion pull. And that's how I feel like I am one with the floor. And you got to stop the music and be like, all right, Dani, because I will just keep going and flowing and flowing. And what I love about liquid motion the most is that it has taught my body how to accentuate how it naturally likes to move and feel great in that moment. Um, and when I record myself or have like, let me get better at my videography, and you see yourself moving through what somebody else is seeing you do, it just feels even better. And I feel like I let myself go in the moment when I am practicing liquid motion. Like I feel like I'm not even thinking, I'm just vibing with the song. And I know that all of our dancing, it stems from sensual movement and, you know, our OG fathers, the strippers that like all pole dance comes from and like the different techniques and styles. But liquid motion, they preach that, you know, you don't have to dance sexy. It's sensual movement for how your body wants to feel good for itself. And I always tell my students, you are dancing for yourself. Everybody else is extra. You're welcome for the show, but I'm here for me. You're welcome, but I'm here for me. Say that to anybody else. If you're dancing, whoever you're dancing to, or even if you're just dancing to the cats in the room, just you showed up for yourself. Your body showed up for you. And I feel like anybody can do liquid motion, regardless of your skill level. It's literally you are rolling around on the floor, but you make it look cool. And you don't need any extra equipment, which is nice. You literally can have just a tiny little square on the floor or literally just a spot on the wall or a door jamb, and you can get your movement on. And I feel like it unlocks different emotions than pole dancing. I feel like pole dancing is more of like, for me at least, it unlocks not necessarily an aggressive feeling, but more of like a heart racing feeling. And where like liquid motion, it unlocks that like heart freeing, like floating on the breeze type of thing. I don't know. That's a good comparison. But like, well, like, yeah, pull gets my heart racing. Like I'm just like, yeah, I could take on the world. And liquid motion, I just feel free. I don't need to take on the world. It's already been taken on, and now I'm just free to be. And I love it. I have done it outside. I take it to the beach all the time. I have when I was a bus driver in Texas on field trips, I'd be out on my phone taking a class while I've dropped off my field trip and I'm out in the parking lot and I'm jamming. I'm just like, I don't need nothing. I'm here and I'm doing a dance class. I feel like it's a welcoming community. Just with same with pole, you know, there's obviously some areas, some people just with any community that, you know, they're more closed off or not as welcoming. But it's surprisingly for how popular it is, there aren't a lot of people around here that do it or that even know what it is. So I'm trying to get more awareness out. But you know, people, they tend to forget that floor work is important as well in performing or competing. I mean, hey, if you have the power and stamina to literally do pole tricks nonstop for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how long your song or performance is, power to you, man. I myself know I'm dead on the floor. Especially depending on the level of intensity or tricks that you're doing. So I feel like people do forget that floor work is it's important to come off, and I think floor work helps you engage with your audience as well and makes them feel like they're a part of it, because if you're just only sticking to the pole, it feels like you're dancing obviously to the pole, you're dancing with the pole, and then the audience is just a spectator. But liquid motion allows you to involve them and let them be a part of your dance as well. And that's a nice feeling.
I love the way that you describe that. And do you have special shoes that help you do floor work better, or what are your shoe recommendations for floor work?
Um,
Because I can see your shoe collection back there.
Honestly, yes. For my shoe collection, I have, I believe, anywhere from 42 to 47 different pairs of heels. I have ankle boots, I have sandals, I have thigh highs, I have heel-less ones, so ones that don't have the heels on it. Those literally you're balancing on your toes the whole time and are a thigh burner. Your thighs are on fire. And they're really cool. I have regular street heels, so there's no platform to them. But I'll dance in anything, sneakers. I actually incorporate liquid motion when I do roller pole. So even in my roller skates, it's just learning to turn and manipulate your foot in whichever way so the heel or the skate can glide. But sometimes if people are new to heels in general, I recommend you start liquid motion barefoot, because two of the key things for liquid motion is connectivity to the floor. And so a lot of the time you are keeping your toe or the side of your foot here connected to the floor or the outer side of your foot. And people, when they're new to heels, I've noticed, not everybody, some people haven't, you know, they take to them naturally. They lose the connectivity once they put the heel on, and instead of the heel being an extension of themselves, it's now something that it's a prop to them. So they are flointing or they're flexed and they are picking it up and they lose the connectivity. So I like to train my newbies, my babies. I like to have them start off doing a few classes or at least start the lesson without heels. And then maybe at the end, if you brought heels and you do want to try, you're totally welcome to put them on. I usually always dance in heels, even on carpet. Like I said, what am I? What is it? A sadist or masochist, whatever the one is. I like to hurt myself. So right now, my favorite pair of heels are, I have these two. So these are my 9-inch patent Hellas. So these ones are nice because they stick to the pole, but they glide on the carpet because they're sticky. So when you're on hard floor, obviously the sticky heels stick a little bit more, but again, that's where each person needs to individually learn how hard they need to push their foot or shift their body in a specific way to complete the move. And then my other favorite pair right now are these long ones. They're bright orange. They come just above my knee, but they have the low back. So they stop below your knee pit. So I can still do knee grips on the pole. And this is more of like not a velvet material, but it's a soft material. So it slides on the floor, slides on the carpet, but it does not give you that sticky grip on the pole. And this brand is Drag Pole Shoes. I love them. I actually have a couple of pairs of shoes from them. Those yellow ones, snake skins right there are from them. But these are my go-tos right now because they look awesome in black light. They glow and I love color. I actually only have one pair of whites, which are these ones, and then one pair of solid black. And then everything else is literally pink, bright green, bright blue, like all colors. Yeah. I don't have a lot of black, even in my wardrobe for all my pole clothes. My pole wardrobe, my closet, my shoe wardrobe is the envy of pretty much anybody I meet, I think. When pandemic first started and everybody was doing the online thing, I was doing a lot of online camps. And if you've heard of the studio, GFF Damien Studio, they're in the UK. They're back to doing in-person camps right now, and one day I'm gonna go there and do one. But they would do like it would be like 2 or 3 days in a row, and I'd be getting up at like 5 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. their time, and they would do like 12 to 15 workshops in a row. I'm changing my outfit for every single one. I had wigs because I was like, that's part of the experience. Like, yes, I'm here to learn, but I'm going to look good doing it. I may not be the best in class, but nobody's going to beat my outfit. Because I feel like that can definitely boost somebody's mood as well. Because obviously we're not going to be perfect at everything that we try the first time. I mean, there might be some people, I mean, good on y'all, but most of us, we are not perfect at everything. But when you take a class or a workshop and you get, at least 40 to 50%, maybe 60% of it, you feel good because you can walk away successful. I accomplished some of it, but then there's also room to grow because obviously if you are literally completing every class or workshop perfectly, you're not properly challenging yourself and you're not growing. That or you're not doing it right, and then you're cheating yourself and the instructor. So that's important. So you have to slow down and not cheat anybody because I mean ultimately you're the student as well because we're always improving, always growing. And if you are an instructor or a studio owner yourself, you should constantly be wanting to take more classes, updated material, bringing, the latest training techniques, materials, products to your students, to your staff, to yourself, because that's how you stay relevant. That's how you stay safe and get those clients coming back. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. You're absolutely right. It's so important to get out of your comfort zone to learn as many things as possible. And it just makes you a more well-rounded dancer, teacher. Yeah.
It sure
Yes.
does. I love how we got into that from your question on your heels.
Sorry, I'm such a rambler.
Oh, it happens. 43, oh my, almost 43 heels. I can't even imagine. That's almost like $4,000.
The thing, I've sold some too, and like the crazy thing is before pandemic, I had 3 pairs. I had, your baby starter, classic clear little pumps everybody starts with.
Yep.
I had a 6-inch pair of red patent boots. Those are my first boots. And then I had a neon pair of sandals, which I actually blew out in a rush in class by slamming down on the floor with my heel, and it blew out. But once pandemic started, I discovered all the brands for heels. I discovered all the brands for and I went nuts. I went nuts. Oh yeah. So now people come to me and they're like, "Hey Dani, do you know a code? Hey Dani, where do I get this at? Hey Dani, what's the rate?" And I'm like, "Hold on, I got you." And I'm like, I check my notes and I'm like, "Here's this one or this one."
Someone needs to sponsor you.
I just want to share all this stuff because I didn't have this, like, I did not have the community when I first wanted to start, because I've always loved dance. And in college, the first taste I had into like the aerial world was silks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to try that. These people had just started like a club that was like sponsored by the school. So it was like they had real proper equipment and everything. And I was told I was too large size-wise to do it. And not in those nice words either. And I was like, okay, thanks. Did not go back for ever. And I actually I had stomach surgery when I got out of college. I was kind of pressured by my mom, like, oh, you need, you should do, I'm just like, But I feel had I found the dance community beforehand, I don't think I would have been pressured into it, because I myself see women and men who are triple, quadruple my size, who can do things I can't even do at this size I am now. And like, I'm strong now, and like, what's up? And like, it's all about being properly taught and knowing how to move your body. And like, because there are some amazing athletes who are considered, the larger athlete variety, the plus size athletes. But again, if you are taught and know how to move your body properly, they are amazing. And I wish I had found that community beforehand. This is assistant number 3, Mia.
Kitties.
I got 4.
Wow. So we still haven't met the 4th one.
Neutral cats.
She won't come up here. She's
Oh my gosh. Well, Dani, thank you for sharing that about you. I'm so sorry that you met so much resistance in the circus world. That's really surprising to me that they would do that. Because I hear about it all the time in like the dance world.
back in. That was true. That was also up in Alaska, so smaller town. Back in, I want to say like 2013, maybe 2014. Since then, this woman, she actually follows me on IG now. She comments on my progress and my journey. And she actually does own an aerial studio up there now. It's a great studio from what I've seen, but you know, some people just they don't understand. That's why I know y'all know Roz the Diva, her plus size coaching and instructing. That's why it's so important that there are coaches out there informing people better nowadays, because just like with anything, if you teach somebody how to do it and give them the chance, we're not dumb. We can all learn.
So true. Thank you for sharing that, Dani.
I agree. I'm a fan of Roz the Diva and J Ball. I find them so inspirational, especially for the plus size community. It's just so incredible. I love going to a competition and seeing people like do incredible things that you just wouldn't expect if you saw them out in the street.
Yep. Everybody
Yes.
has the ability to be.
Mhm.
They do. Which
100%.
leads us into what's your favorite trick, or do you have a pole nemesis? I love this.
My favorite tricks, they're simple ones, but simple can be beautiful. Right now my go-tos are genie / no hands genie or tulip. I think it's called, yeah, tulip. And then I love a good layback. I love just letting my arms go free and flying. I think layback was probably like the first cool trick I learned when I first started. I was like, I'll try it. Let me get up there and just free. I love it. And suicide spin. I love, yeah. I don't think I have a nemesis trick because I don't particularly make myself learn tricks. I'm bad on that. I need to be better because I'm a choreo girl. Choreography is my jam. Yeah. So unless the trick is put into the choreography, I don't necessarily go out of my way to learn one.
There is nothing wrong with that at all.
Oh my God, suicide spin is so scary. I tried to learn it a few months ago and I was like, no.
Aren't there like a bunch of variations of suicide spin?
I think so
No.
too. Like you can fall backwards and then like you can do no hands, obviously, and like the way I learned it, I you transition, and of course everybody calls everything something else. You transition into, I think it's called robin or bird cage. I said with a question mark. So you're doing your suicide spin and then you turn towards the ground and your other foot gets hooked on it. And so like you're kind of flying on the ground, like facing down like that, and you're flying around low on the pole. That makes
I feel like we call that birdie or dolphin, and bird cage is a completely other move for us. That's so funny.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. See, we need it's so hard because everybody will be like, I created this new move. And it's just a slight variation, and then it's like some completely different name, and you're like, okay. So many names, so many names.
Right. I do wish that suicide spin was called something else though, because I really don't like saying that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that that hasn't been changed already, because there was a move actually in Liquid Motion that was called Get Arrested. And the move is you're against the wall like that. And you have the arch in your back. And they after all the protesting and things that happened, they renamed it to now it's called Home Base. So I'm actually surprised because that one is, it's a popular one. So yeah. What would be a good alternative for that?
Right?
Tornado, There's probably already something called tornado or blender. I don't know.
Blend. Ooh,
Too
yeah.
spinny.
Like
Spin to hell and stuff. Spin from
spin
hell.
to hell.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm gonna call it that for now. Well, Danny, do you use a particular pole grip or a hand and body grip?
I do. Right now, I think it's the popular one that's been going around since last PoleCon. I use a combo of things. Mhm. So right now I'm using Arid Plane, the grip solution. And then I also like to use my Loop It chalk pad. I like to mix it. And then when I do roller pole, I use firm grip and I'll spray like the top of my skate because this helps like the material of the skate stick. Or if I'm skating in tall socks, I'll spray the front of my socks and it'll help give a little bit of grip on the pole. Because I do like to wear knee pads when I roller pole because I like to protect my knees. And those, hiding the knee pads with the socks. But I like those three things right now. I do use, there are two others that are in my rotation. I use Enviro Grip. If you've heard of that, it smells like baby powder. It smells good. It's from Australia. It comes in a green bottle and it dries the hands, but it doesn't over dry them. And like my palms get so sweaty. And I'm a sweaty Susan. And then the last grip I use right now is Pole Poised Extreme Hand Grip. I like to use that when I pull outside, because it is a very tacky grip, but I don't feel like I sweat through it. I'll put that on my knee pit and like the back of my leg, like my thigh, when I pull outside on my stage pull. And if in the sun here in Florida, like obviously it gets really hot. I feel like that's a good outdoor grip. Yeah,
So
those are my grips.
many for all different things. I also wanted to talk a little bit about your roller skating pole because it's becoming more popular, and you just mentioned that you spray the roller skates with the spray. That's brilliant, and I never would have thought of that. But and then we were talking about ankle weights. I can't even imagine wearing roller skates and trying to do an invert. How do you do that?
Oh gosh, it's so hard. So like, even though like our heels feel heavy, I feel like these are hollow. You know, these are so solid. So like these are my outdoor skates. So it's got my ramp, my sliding blocks on them. So these are not on my pole ones. So it's just the heels and then your toe stopper. And you can decorate them. I got wings on mine so I can fly. But most skates are like a sort of suede or velvet material. And the firm grip, it's like a tacky sort of spray. I also, the people who do like silks a lot, this is a popular grip for them. And so like I'll literally spray the inside of my boot, just a little bit like that, let it dry, and it creates like a tacky feeling. So then it kind of, almost when you have like the PVC material and you're climbing the pole, I wouldn't say this extreme on the skate, but it definitely helps give it a little bit of a stick. And I climb the same way as when I'm wearing heels, 1 foot in front, one in the back. You just have to make sure when you're climbing to not clink the pole with the wheels real hard and hit them. And then it's kind of just like with wearing heels, you just have to take more care to if you're threading through a window or anything like that, or extending a leg, that you're really extending it to clear the pole or whatnot. Inverting, it's definitely, you want to build up the arms, because that is really what's going to be your starter to hike your booty up to get into a hook. Dropping into an invert is definitely a lot easier in the skates. I'm doing a performance on March 3rd. It's Hidden Gems, Faces of the Future Showcase in Orlando. And I'm going to do roller pole for my performance. And some of the tricks that I have written into my choreo. I was practicing last night, so I'm very tired. I like to do a jasmine because you can really lock your legs, your skates, and feel secure. I like to do a jade split. I know there's people who are like, oh, a jade split, oh, it's so overdone. Doesn't matter, it looks so cool, especially holding that. I like to do one routine I choreographed a teddy in. Really anything, because climbing to the top of the pole in the skates, they're already super heavy. They're like, gosh, I would say this is like 7 to 8 pounds, just this one. Because this stuff's metal, your trucks, this is metal down here, and you got your different shaped toe stoppers. Mine's a heart. But I think really what the roller skating of roller pole is, I always say this to people, just because you put skates on and then climb the pole doesn't mean you're roller poling. You got to skate away from the pole. You got to, actually do some skate work on the floor. So like, if you already like skating, this is a really fun to combine it, because you get to do, fancy footwork in the skates. So like the different skate maneuvers on the ground. That's where I like to implement the liquid motion. I love to do a shoulder roll to kip. That's always a go-to move of mine when I do a floor routine. And I actually have that written in my roller pole routine that I'm going to do, because I like to do a floor jade, come back in, and then kip into the skates. So if it goes according to plan, and if you know how to do some really cool skate moves, you can do some really cool techniques, and then they make light up wheels, so that makes it look even cooler. And how we have the air walk on the pole. Mine is more of an air run unless I'm feeling very strong. When you have skates on, it's called kind of more of like a float, because you get your skate going around the pole, and then you can lift up your outer leg, and then you just coast literally around the pole on your inside wheels, and you're just skating around on an angle like that, and it looks really cool. And you can alternate your legs and look like you're floating, and just another cool way to experiment with pole.
Would
And
you recommend that people learned how to roller skate first before they try to roller pole?
not necessarily, but it definitely helps if you have had some experience, because knowing how to balance, just knowing how to skate back and forth on just on the skates, because that's the thing. When you let go of the pole, you don't have the pole to hold on for stability anymore. So you got to rely on your balance. And it can be really cool. And, if you only want to stay near the pole, there's plenty of moves. You can do skating around, different techniques, different struts downtown, back and forth, things like that. And then different moves before you actually start climbing up on the pole. And of course, it looks cool with partners or groups. I did perform 2 years ago at PoleCon. with the roller pole team that I was on at the time. Were called the Roly Polers. And they performed again last year. I'm not sure if they're performing again this year, but just a group of like-minded people who love to pole and love to skate. Because I tell anybody with any aerial or pole thing, once you know your proper grips and how to hold things, it's just about experimenting and seeing what you like.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I recently tried roller skating again as an adult, and I like the first hour I couldn't even like lift my leg. The skate was so heavy, and then to stop, I just run into a wall. So I'm always so impressed when people can take the skates and put them with the pole because it's just like amazing to me.
Yeah, and people see too, they think that you have to get super expensive skates to do it. I started off, I've since gifted mine to somebody else because I've upgraded my skates, but I started off with $60 Impala skates. Good enough. They work just fine. One thing I will say with pole and roller skating, if you do it, one thing you do have to constantly check is your toe stop because you're always using it to stop and do pivoting moves while pulling. It can come loose, so you'll want to check that because you don't want it to come off while you're performing, because that's happened to one of our girls before. But you don't need fancy skates to do it. It's real easy. And the classes that I have gone through and taken like with instructors, they are really good about they'll do a little skate tutorial beforehand, like, oh, this is how you skate forward, this is how you skate backwards. Bubbles, the best way to stop and turn around. We teach a falling technique. For anybody who skates, oh no, get low. So anytime you feel like you're gonna fall, you just wanna, up here, lower center of gravity, lower place to fall, and you don't want to reach your arms out in front of you. I've actually done that and broken my wrists before, both of them at separate times. You want to fall to a hip, pick a side, not your direct hip, but you want to pick like your ham hock here. You want to pick a side booty to fall to. That's what you want to do. That's usually the safest way to go, because then you're not going to fall on your hands or your forearms. You're not going to land directly on your tailbone, side meet, and then you can kind of just sprawl out and then get up from there. Yeah.
Thank you for those tips. Yeah, right. It's so important to learn how to fall for sure.
Because we're all going to do it. We're all going
Yeah.
down at some point or another.
Yes. I remember I fell into like a split, which I did not mean to do.
Yeah. The one girl, she, right before our last practice, before we were leaving for PoleCon, she fell and broke her shin. Yeah. She just tripped over somebody and she broke some bone in her shin. Yeah. So it can be dangerous, as with anything we do in pole and aerial. So definitely there's no shame in wearing knee pads. Starting off, some people even do the wrist guards, there's no shame. Your journey is your journey, and if somebody else is shaming you for being safe, well, shame on them. So,
Right. We only get one body.
if we're lucky.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, how often do you train?
It varies. Right now I'm training at home mostly by myself. So like 3 days a week. When I was in studio and serious, I'd be taking, I don't know how I was, 17 classes a week. Because I'd be taking online, I'd be taking in person, I do recordings, balls to the wall, I want it all. But realistically, now I'm like now I have better knowledge. Like, let me actually have some structure. So, I'm making sure I do conditioning. Realistically, I do 3 times a week, 20-minute sessions. That's it. That's it. And that's through Alter Ego Dance Fitness. Terry has created her conditioning program, and I did that, and I actually have seen results in my inverts where like my arms are stronger and I can actually cleanly invert repeatedly, not just one or two, like I'm doing it the whole class. And actually her conditioning class allowed me to get ragdoll. If you guys know from invert, and then you're like reaching all like behind and like twisty, if you guys call that the same thing.
Maybe
Um,
broken doll.
yeah, that's the one. Broken down. And that hurt, yeah. So I hate it, but I do it. And then I'll do like probably 2 choreographies a week learning. Um, I need to do more cross training. Like that's important that like it's being spoke of more now, like more and more it's being spoke of. And we're like, oh yeah, they might be right. So
Right, it's so surprising that like doing other things would help you with pole.
I know. Yeah. I definitely find I paddleboard. When it's warm here, me and Ryan, we paddleboard a lot. Um, and then like when I was in school, I did tennis, I did swimming, that kind of stuff, punching my brother. Um, but mostly I just liked dance. Um, yeah, I need to train more though, but I need to.
Are those 3 days, do those include your teaching days?
No, so I took February off. I'm not teaching this month. I mean, that's kind of a lie because we did have a studio showcase, mini showcase last weekend, and I did do a lollipop teach to the class or to the people who came. And then, when you hang out with friends, you teach them and stuff. But when I teach, I usually teach once a week just because the studio that we're at or that I'm at right now, it's much smaller. And so there isn't like a large class selection. So I'm on the schedule once a week um, because it's more of a fitness gym. So you have the dedicated elderly members who like go in the morning and they do like walk fit or like pickleball. And then we have the few people who come. We're trying to get more offerings on the schedule um, because we only have 3 pole classes a week. And then I teach liquid motion floor, heels and whatnot. And I have taught twerk there in the past because I am a certified twerk technician. Um, so I do teach that online sometimes for Alter Ego Dance Space, but we're trying to figure out, hit and miss with online classes and then like trying to figure out the best way to get new clients in person for the studio here. So that's one thing I'm brainstorming because it's not my studio. So you have to find a way to not necessarily overstep because I don't feel like I'm overstepping. I'm genuinely interested. I'm genuinely want to provide good services to my fellow students and for myself. And but at the same time, the studio owner, she's been in business, so she knows what she's doing. So if she's choosing not to offer more classes, because this is what they want to offer, that's why I'm the type of person who will travel. I'll go anywhere. I drive to, so right now, on top of those few trainings, like at home, 2 days a month, I drive to Daytona because it's 80 miles each way. And I go to Serpentine Fitness Studio there. So last night I did chair and pole, and then I did an open pole class where I practiced my roller pole. But this year is definitely going to be more about investing in my training, pouring into my cup. Because as much as I do love teaching, I also love learning. And like I said, I feel like I should be further on my journey. So I want to reinvest more into that right now. So doing that.
Love it. I remember too, the last time we talked, you had not performed before, and then you've since then done a few performances. Do you want to talk a little bit about them and how it felt?
So I had both my pole solo performance and a burlesque solo debut because I performed in group before, and group takes away that pressure because you don't have the spotlight just on you. You can kind of, if you forget a move, you can rely on those around you, like, oh yeah, that's what it is, and then keep going. So it was on February 10th at Serpentine Fitness Studio. We had our showcase. And I did my pole solo first, and I was up right after this woman did this sort of cowgirl style burlesque, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And I was like, I'm standing in the back of the room, and I was like, I gotta follow that. What? I was like, she was so good. And I went up there and I was just like, oh God, and I'm like rubbing my hands on my little mesh bodysuit that's not doing anything. And I'm just like, my hands are so sweaty right now. And the music started and I was a few counts ahead because, the excitement, the adrenaline. So the last like maybe 10 seconds of the routine, I had to add on and just kind of like flow. And I was happy with it. I made sure like at the last, I was on my back and I was like turning like this and making eye contact with everybody in the front row. And I heard this one lady go, oh, as I stared her down because I'm just like, through everybody. And she's, oh, so that was cool. And then the burlesque one, it went good overall. I was very happy with it. Very happy with my fan work because those things are heavy. And I was like, maybe I'll just use one. And then I was like, no, we're gonna do both. And I can't get over it. My biceps just look awesome. And I had a few people ask me about making them fans, but there was a little snafu with the music. So we missed my start because the music was supposed to be all da 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 da, Marilyn Monroe. So I had to like run up to Ryan because he dressed up as like my JFK because I was singing to him. And so I like had to run up to him real quick. But the rest of it went really well. I literally was dripping in sweat by the time it was done. But I was really happy with it. Definitely want to do another one. I definitely want to take apart the dress that I sewed for it as well and remake it better now that I have more time and like have the like look and like now I know like how I want to change it. I definitely want to do that. People tipped at this show too, so I made in total $30 in tips, so that was awesome. And then it was a really good cast. There were two separate acts or sections of the show. And there were some really talented people. There was some fire eating. There was Lyra. Some people did dragon staff and like they did multiple where they were like pole, hoop, and floor. And so like there were multi-talented performers there. And it was really good. And it was really nice too. The studio themselves, they had a professional videographer there So they recorded the show for us and then like took pictures of us pre-show, like in our outfits to like edit for us for free as performers. So that was really nice of them. And I'm definitely going to apply to their next show, which is going to be in April, I believe. I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely liked it. We'll definitely do more burlesque. I love dressing up and putting on that different persona and pretending to be somebody else. And back when we lived in Texas, and whenever we'd go out with other people and somebody would come up to me at the bar or something like that, they'd be like, "Oh, what's your name?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm Tiffany." And like that was just always my go-to name. And sometimes when my friends would catch me, they'd be like, "Dani, no, it's not." And I'd be like, "Quit it. I'm somebody else right now." But I love that about pole and aerial in general. Like, you could literally perform in sweats in a tank and nobody would judge you, and they would love you just the same as if you were in full-on heels and makeup and a wig and an outfit and everything. And I think that's just the costume tree just adds to it and makes it 10 times better. Like just the feeling, because I always say, look good, feel good. If you feel good about how you look, you feel good about yourself. It boosts your adrenaline, it boosts your confidence and your performance and how you teach and how you just dance, act. It all connected. Yeah.
That does sound fun. You came back to performing with a vengeance.
I did. I will say I did. With that one being accepted, that was my one accepted this year, my first acceptance out of 11 rejections already. So I definitely, when I put myself out there, I put myself out there. And that's why when you guys did your podcast too, like, you got to manage your expectations, because I feel like everybody in general as humans, we want to be seen. And when we're not selected, but not told why, it almost is worse than not being selected just in general, because you're left hanging. So I am the type of person, I will reach out. Well, can you please tell me why? Like, not like I'm demanding, like, why? I would like to constructively know, what didn't I do right, or what do I need to improve on, or what should I do less of, so that we know for the next time. And I feel like this should go for anybody, whether you're doing a competition, you're doing a performance, because if you are the person or production company, whichever studio putting on the show, you know what you're looking for. So I feel in the pole community, the aerial community, it needs to be more spoken on, and people need to be called out more, because, most of these things that we apply to are expensive. The competitions, this stuff is expensive, and they know it. And again, when you're putting on a specific show or competition, you know what theme or style you're looking for. You know what level of skill you're looking for. You know what type of performer you're looking for. And I say all this with gritted teeth, yes. I'm sure it translates, people, but I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, because again, this stuff's expensive. We put our hard effort, energy, money, time, all of that into it to apply. The least they can do, and I understand that, yes, some competitions or shows might get tons and tons of applications. It's your duty to sit down and watch them all. If these people are taking the time to apply to your show or something because they believe in you and what you're doing, you should also reciprocate and believe in them. And again, maybe not right away if you've already found your selection, but again, be more specific in posting. Don't post, "Oh, anybody and everybody is welcome to apply." Well, of course, we'll take your money. Well, of course. But again, y'all know what you're looking for. So I feel like in that way, competitions, showcases kind of prey on new people, because we're like, we just want to be seen. We just want to be noticed. We want to get we want to get in the clique, so to speak. But we're not necessarily ready for that level. So it's all good and well that, yes, anybody and everybody is welcome to apply, because of course you're not excluding anybody. You're welcome to, but you know damn well you're going to select Mary Jo, who can throw an Iron X and then triple flip out of it, who's been performing and who has shows under her belt that can demonstrate she is a performer, compared to Steve or Sam, who they've been doing this for 6 months and they can walk beautifully, but they don't have any proof. See what I'm saying? So in that sense, studios are your way in, because when you're a member of the studio and they hold a performance, it's so important to do it, even if you're shy, nervous, worried, do it. Because if you ever think later on, you're like, yeah, I really do like this, I really do like performing, or I do want to compete, you're going to need the videos, you're going to need the experience, because then you're like, oh, I want to apply for this show. Well, where's your, sorry about that. You're gonna need the video proof showing that you can interact with a crowd or command a stage presence, and just demonstrate that you can walk the walk and talk the talk when you're applying, because as much as they say they consider everybody.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I haven't come across too many like fees to audition, but I guess they're still out there. And that was something that really made me upset about like the dance world, because a lot of them were not only charging for an audition, but they were also offering like classes where you had to like take this training to like even audition or to have a better, and now it's just like draining these dancers who don't have any money to begin with, just to hopefully fill like maybe 10 spots.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's,
Frustrating.
they say it's for everyone, but it's really not. Yeah.
It's not. It
Right.
really is. It's about who you know. And I'm trying to revamp my image, so to speak, but not necessarily, because I stand by what I say. It is what, like, I do not take back any, like, I stand by it. But at the same time, those same competitions or shows, they don't like being told that. And I actually, I called one out, and it's a well-known one. And they actually blocked me on social media because I called them out. And I definitely could have been better in my delivery. I will admit that. But hey, like you said, we put in a lot of time, money, and effort, and y'all can't even be respectful sometimes. And especially when you see the same performers or the same people over and over, they do their same routine. And I'm not knocking anybody's training, anybody's ability, or their performances by any means, but give other people a shot. How are you going to discover the new greats or the next up and comers? And I'm not saying kick out the old people, like, oh, you had your chance, goodbye, you're done. But again, you can't be saying this is for everybody if you only accept the same people over and over, or only your friends, because that's different. If you're calling for open auditions or performers, it should be open. Now, if you're planning a specific show, oh, this is the show, this is the lineup, that's something totally different. And by all means, pick them stars, pick those people who are going to fill the seats, who are going to sell tickets, and you're actually going to have a good audience of paying members who are going to tip the dancers. Then yes, definitely go that way. But the other, no.
Right. I guess there's just difference between like maybe the shows that are just all in it for the money, and the other shows that are in it to involve other different types of performers and give everyone a chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
I
Well,
definitely
I was going to ask, do you have other upcoming performances coming up?
I just have the one on March 3rd. It is the Hidden Gems Faces of the Future Showcase. And it is at let me pull it up here. It's at a theater in Orlando. Give me just a second. It is at the ME Theater in Orlando, Florida. It's on March 3rd. It's a Sunday. It's at 3 p.m. And I believe there are 20 performers total. There's going to be pole, there's going to be lollipop. I'm performing roller pole myself. Very excited. And then after that, I think I'm going to just focus on training. I have the traincation that weekend in March. I did sign up for 2 camps that I'm going to do my first camps, like actual pole camp. One of them is the base camp with Claudia Renee in Texas. I signed up for that one. I was like, oh my God. I saw the lineup, and those are some instructors that I legitimately follow. I've taken online from them, and I'm like, that's my style. And then the Serpentine Studio is hosting a camp at the end of September. Yes, September in Smoky Mountains, Tennessee. And it's 3 or 4 days of workshops, and then the photo shoot is what sold me. Underground waterfall. Yes, I was like, sign me up. And they have a payment plan, 6-month payment plan that's like $150 a month, so it's very doable. So I'm trying to get people around here to come so we can do like a couples trip, get an Airbnb. The men can go off and whatever while we train during the day, and then we'll go explore during the evening and on the weekend. And unfortunately, I did apply to PoleCon. I applied to 5 categories this year. 5. And I did not get selected for any. So sadness. My friend, though, one of my close friends, she did get selected for the up and comers category, so I'm super excited for her on that. And then another show, the Original Sin show, that's supposed to be happening in, I think it's Clearwater, Florida, in April. I did not get selected for that as well. But I'm going to further develop my concept and maybe come back with it next year, because I really do like that show. Like, it's the production of it. Those are one of those expensive ones where they definitely want to put on a show. And my concept has to do with I forget the god's name. Oh, Mother Maiden Crone. Best friends with, I forget. It's not important since I wasn't selected. But I'll probably apply to the next studio showcase and just keep working on doing that, and then just focusing on my training, so then next year's round of applications will be better. So this year is going to be focused on training, getting that video footage for proof, and just building up that little portfolio, I guess, and falling back in love with pole. Yeah, definitely.
You'll be filling your cup, like you said earlier.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Thank you for sharing your experiences of rejection too. And I'm so happy that it hasn't stopped you. And I don't know if you found this, but I definitely found that as I'm rejected, I'll just continue trying. And then like the next year, um, like where I didn't receive any response, I'll actually receive a response. Even if it is a rejection, they'll like write back to me at least. So it's just all about putting yourself out there.
It is hard to continue after rejection. Like I'm not gonna lie, I had a meltdown after all that rejection because on top of the 5 performance rejections, I also submitted 3 teaching proposals for free workshops. So that was 8 rejections in one day. It's a lot. It's a lot. Even though it's one weekend of events, it's a lot. And I definitely was like, we all have those feelings. Am I not good enough? Why am I not good enough? God damn it, I am good enough. Why wasn't I? So I definitely had to take a moment, talk to my confidants and like cried it out on the stairs. And then I was like, well, you know what? Time to reinvest in myself because, that is one of the things when we do get rejected a lot, but some people, they do quit. And that's why you find a lot of poles or equipment or shoes, lots of things online for sale because people get all gung ho and then they're like, oh, I'm going to do it all. And then the first sign of failure, they quit. Well, I've been doing this on and off since 2019 now, end of 2018. I'm not giving up. I'm going to be a superstar one day. It will happen. It will happen.
I love it. Thank you for that positive attitude. And like I said, just sharing the stories of rejection because it's part of it. It's just part
It
of it.
is, and it happens to everybody, guys. Um, just like with everybody, the only difference is if you get back up and keep going, because you'll never get a yes if you don't even try. So
It's so true. Fight that imposter syndrome.
definitely, yes. We're all good enough if we put in the effort.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And you never know until you try.
Exactly.
Well, do you have any free time to do anything else? Do you have a muggle job?
I do. So I drive for Amazon. I'm a delivery driver. So I guess technically I always tell people, I'm like, I never need to go to the gym. I walk 1,000,000 steps a day. I'm stepping in and out of my truck. I walk up 8 flights of stairs for apartments. And so this is also from lifting boxes repeatedly.
Right.
But I do have a business degree. Um, So I'm trying to get back into that. I used to work in like payroll and HR and stuff like that in the business world. And then pandemic hit and I was a bus driver. I got my CDL and became a bus driver in Texas. And then we moved here because Ryan graduated from school and he works on airplanes, doing things like that. But I don't know. I don't dream of a dream job because I don't dream of working. Uh, I always say if I could just get paid to cook, craft, dance, play with animals, and thrift store all day, we'd be golden. We'd be golden. That's really what we do in our free time. If it's nice out, we go for walks, we go explore parks, or we go paddleboarding, different springs and things like that. I like to craft and thrift store. I am an amazing thrift store shopper. That's where half of my closet is from. The only thing I do buy new is underwear and socks. I don't buy that used. But I have found some amazing brand name things at thrift stores, or that's where I get a lot of like my props for photos, costumes, dance stuff. Honestly, this is where I've gotten all of my mirrors, my entire wall of mirrors, thrift stores or in the garbage. And then I just take off the old frame from like the old furniture from the 80s. You just take that out, get some wall hooks, hang those up, and good to go. But yes, otherwise, that's all I do in my free time. And I write down on the board, there's a board in the kitchen for Ryan. I'll be like, I'm busy on this day. I'm going to the studio. I'm doing this performance on this day. This is the day you have free with me. I'm busy here. So that he can plan around what I'm doing.
Does your partner have no life?
Not really. Yeah. He works, like I said, he works on airplanes. He does like electrical stuff for like American Airlines, JetBlue, like commercial airlines. Um, and then if he's not hanging out with me, see, he would rather just be with me. And I'm like, you can go do stuff by yourself. Because he likes to frisbee golf, but I hate frisbee golf because I am terrible at it. And I'm like, I'm not having a good time. And he'll be like, throw it this way, and I'll do it, and it's still, and I'm like, we're both about to be not having a good time if you keep making me do this. And so like I'll go with him and just walk behind him and like be like, oh, your frisbee's over there, because I apparently cannot throw a frisbee to save my life properly. So he likes that. And then again, outdoor stuff, we do that together. And he also likes the thrill of the thrift. Yeah. So our favorites are the Goodwill outlets. Those are the places that sell things by the pound. So you just dig through bins. And I've found medicine balls, longboards, just all different kinds of training equipment, and they weigh it all. So you could walk away with like 40 pounds of stuff and you've only paid like $50. My closet is so insane. I could probably go 3 months and not need to do laundry.
We do
Yep.
not have those here.
We're crazy. When we go visit my mom in Chicago, we will bring an empty suitcase or just bring like our carry-on with like our outfits in it. Because you can do laundry at mom's, and we will go thrift storing at the outlets in Chicago just to bring stuff back. Because like honestly, they're the best for finding weird things. And by weird, I'll just show you real quick. I'm talking jumpsuits. Like, who wouldn't want this? Or like this sexy snakeskin looking one. I find the coolest outfits for dance. And it's always perfect because, them Halloween costumes are always super expensive, or dance things. So these are nice because you can find them super cheap, sometimes brand new. It's great. I recommend.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Yes. Thank you for letting me just chatter on.
I was gonna say, I think I'm out of questions. Chris, did you have any more questions you wanted to ask?
Do you have any other advice or tips for pole dancers or pole entrepreneurs before we depart?
Yes. Injuries. As much as we're like, we have to keep going, we have to push ourselves, I don't think when we hurt ourselves, I don't think we take it as seriously as we should, because we don't want to stop. And then like we'll tell our students, oh, take care of yourselves, but then as instructors, we don't listen. I'm definitely guilty of that. Or like, if we cut our warm up short or cool down like on our own, but then we nag at our students, don't do this. It's okay to stop. And like, it's okay, like if you're in a class and you're gassed, you're cooked, it's okay to stop. Like if you still have time left in the class and other people are still training, or you've hurt yourself, or you're like, I can't do, it's okay to stop. Because I definitely see students, or even when I've been in a class as a student, other people and myself, you feel pressure to keep going because you don't want to be left behind in the class, or you don't want others to know you've just hurt yourself or something like that for whatever reason, embarrassment, you were doing something dumb, you weren't paying attention, whatever. But it's okay to literally just sit there. Just stop, because you'll thank yourself in the long run because you won't keep aggravating the injury or whatever you just did. Take a moment, reassess, take a breather, just watch the rest of the class. It's okay to be a spectator as well and just take in the information visually and then come back to it physically later. There's no timetable that says you have to learn certain things by a certain time, or, oh, you've been polling this amount of time, you should already know how to do this. I disagree with anybody who teaches like that or preaches that. The only thing I will agree with is that, yes, you should train both sides so you're not opposite or lopsided. But then also with that, a caveat, because one side might hurt or feel worse than doing it a different way. That has to be taken into account, and that's okay to speak up. I feel like in general, we're scared to speak up because I don't know what it is. People are just scared. They're scared to voice. They don't want to be that person to speak up and be looked at or judged. But at the same time, and the reality, nobody's looking at you or judging you. They're too worried about themselves over on their pole. So stop, ask the question, sit down. Don't be worried about what others are thinking, ultimately. Unless it's the instructor and it's, teaching.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Right. It's always good to take up space. We all have trouble doing that.
Definitely.
Quite a lot of tips in that one. A lot to take.
Well, thank you so much for this, Dani. This was so awesome to get to know a little bit more about you and for
Thank
sharing
you guys
your story with
having
us.
me.
Yes, thank you for coming again. This is the second time. Again, if you haven't seen it, check out the episode Poe Events for 2024 where Dani co-hosted with us. And I hope I get to see you at Traincation. That would be fun with body.
Yeah. It'll be exciting. I love listening to all the episodes and stuff. Yeah, that's good tips and good people to know in the community. And that's one thing that's nice that you guys do is like, I'm gonna say that I'm a nobody. I mean, like, because who are we? But like, I'm not known, but like, you guys talk about topics, but also talk to people who aren't like whole stars, so to speak, but then you also bring in people who are well known and have that years of experience and knowledge of that wealth of knowledge to share. So like you guys do a good variety.
Oh, thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. We're trying, and you are not a nobody.
Right?
You are Alaskan.
I said air quotes, like, I'm not the superstar yet.
No, I definitely understand. I mean, some of our biggest episodes aren't the pole stars, I'll tell you that. It's everyday people. These stories need to be shared. So thank you. I appreciate you saying that because we are definitely trying.
Right? Still,
Doing it.
if you are a pole star, you're still just a person.
Exactly.
I'm learning
It's very
too.
true. It's true. And that's like going back to the being scared thing. I think people are afraid to approach people or brands who are like well known. I'm the type of person, I will DM you. I don't care. I got a question, blah, 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 blah. And hey, it's going to be 50-50. They look at it, they leave me on red, they look at it, they respond. But I'll never know if I don't do it.
Yes. Right?
So
So true.
it's important.
It's true. Too
Thank you
true.
guys so much for inviting me back and just letting me talk about this. I love just talking about these topics with people and sharing my information because when I first started, like I was secluded by myself. So I was just, doing the research online. And so like it's nice to put these resources out there for people who don't know how to look for it or whatever. And can just make it a little bit easier.
Yes.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what the future has for you. We're gonna share all your Instagram links and everything in the comments. I don't know if you finished your website. I was reading.
I've been busy working and stuff. I know I need to get, I was actually saying, who was I telling today? I'm like, I need to get my lazy ass going.
That's okay. We do not recap episodes. Where are they today episodes? So we
Yeah,
could
there we go.
interview in a year or two if you like.
Yeah.
Right.
One last thing. Are either of you squeamish?
No.
Oh no, what are you gonna do?
No. So I will say, like, people think, when they get injured or whatever, like it prevents them from doing something. I broke 6 bones at once when I was in high school and I was in a wheelchair. I had to relearn how to walk because I was living in Alaska and I hit a tractor that was moving with my snowmobile. Um, and you guys might know what a road grader. Do you know what that is? Yes. Okay. So, okay, Mandy does it. So it's a giant tractor with like a blade on it that's like diagonal, and they use them to smooth out gravel roads. And then in the wintertime, like up in Alaska, they use them to plow and smooth out the roads. And me and my friend were driving the snow machine down one road, going like 55 miles an hour. And the tractor was backing up from another side road like this. And we intersected at the last second and hit the blade. And this is where like I said, I've always been physically active and stuff like that, but this accident is what put me, like, I started gaining all of my weight, and at my heaviest I was 297. And my mom, kept pressuring me, oh, you should do the surgery, you're on my insurance, you're on my insurance. This is my leg ripped open. And so this, anybody watching, look away now, because this goes to show, like, and this, I do all the stuff that I do now with this having been done to my leg. I rock climb, I paddleboard, I pull, I skate, I do all of this. And this is my leg ripped open. That's the bones ripped through right there. Oh yeah, that's my leg. Yeah.
And now you're
And the only reason I even have my leg is because I was wearing capri sweatpants, but this is my leg now. There's a titanium rod in my leg and I have screws, but this is just to say, like, I've not let anything stop me. Sometimes, the pressure, you gotta adjust moves and stuff, but literally, if you love something, you'll find a way. And like I said, I've always been physical, and I was not letting that stop me. I'm just very accident prone though, so yeah.
Wow, Danny, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. I had no idea. You certainly had a lot of things. Yeah.
I've done so much more to myself since then too, because I was 16 when that happened.
And now you're inspiring others in pole dancing and doing liquid motion.
Yep. You
But
can do anything you set your mind to, and if you have the proper teacher or coach that believes in you, and if, again, your coach or teacher doesn't know how to do something, if they're the type that goes out of their way to figure it out, you have the right coach or instructor in your
yeah,
corner.
yes, it's so true. And with that, we are signing out because I do have to go. This is getting long and I have another meeting to get ready for.
Thank you guys for chatting.
Of course, thank you.
Yes,
Time.
thank you so much for being with us. We will see you again. I can't wait for Traincation and hopefully get to interview you again in the future and have more to promote for you.
Yes.
Thank
You guys have a
everyone.
great rest of the week.
Yes.
You too. Thank
you
you.
everyone for
Sweetheart.
listening to or watching Paul
I
and
know.
Call. My name is Mændy Mac.
She is Mændy Mac, and I'm Cris Rivers. I gotta do the good thing.
Thank you so much, Dani.
Bye, guys. Have a good